Okay, guys, let's talk about writing equations in slope-intercept form, either from a graph or from 2 points. So the most important thing about slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, is that the two things we need to have filled in are the m and the b. And m represents the slope, or the unit rate, and the b is the y-intercept. Okay, so if we're looking at this graph, I like to start with the y-intercept because it's the easiest thing. And it goes through the y-intercept, or the y-axis, at -5. So immediately I know that I can plug in -5 here. Let's do it in black. I know that the y-intercept is -5, so I can immediately plug that in for a b. Then I have to find the slope. So to find the slope, I want to find rise over run. So I'm going to take 2 points, and I'm going to just make my right triangle. And if you notice, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4 is my rise, and my run is 1, 2. And if I simplify, that's 2. And so over here, instead of writing m, I'm going to plug in 2. And that's the equation of the line. Now that's how I would get it from a graph. So again, I'm going to find the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis, and then I'm going to do rise over run. Make sure if the line is going down that you represent it by a negative number. In this case, the line is going up, so it's a positive. Okay, now I'm going to show you from these 2 points here how I would do it. Now it's actually the same line. So I'm going to show you in a table, and I like to always go by x. I'm going to do whichever x. I'm going to do my x's from least to greatest, so it looks like this. And now let's see what's happening. My x's are increasing by 2, and my y's are increasing by 4. So if I do rise over run, I get 4 over 2. Remember, y's rise, and x's is our run. So it will be 4 over 2, which simplifies to 2. So again, my slope is 2. So when I'm writing y equals mx plus b, for m, I'm going to plug in 2. So I automatically know it should look like this. Your slope always goes with the x. And now I need the y-intercept. From a table, I know the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So I'm going to follow the pattern backwards. So if I'm adding 2 going in this direction, I'm adding 2. If I go in the opposite direction, if I'm going this way, I'm going to subtract 2. And so if I subtract 2 from 2, I get to 0. Oops, let me make that black. And then again over here, if I'm going in this direction, I'm adding 4. To go in this direction, I would subtract 4. And when I subtract 4 from -1, I get -5. So I know that the y-intercept is the number across from 0. My y-intercept is -5, and I plug that in over here, and I have the equation of the line. Remember, I need the slope and the y-intercept. So I get y equals 2x minus 5, and the graph, again, it's the same, y equals 2x minus 5. Now, I just want to show you how you could do this just using the equation. So if I have these 2 points, the first thing I would do is find the slope. So I would still make my xy table. And I would still put these points in. And I would see that this is increasing by 2 while this is increasing by 4, and I'm doing my rise over run. Okay, I still want to find the slope. So now when I write the equation, I'm going to plug in the slope. So it looks like this. Now remember that I want the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is the b. So I could take either one of these points above. I could take the 2, -1 or the 4, 3. I'm going to use 4, 3 because they're positive numbers, and I'm going to plug them into the equation. The 4 is my x, and the 3 is my y. So when I plug it into the equation, I'm going to plug 3 in for y, and then I'm going to plug 4 in for x, and now I'm going to solve for b. So I have 2 times 4 is 8. Oops, let me put that. 2 times 4 is 8. So it looks like this. And then to solve for b, I subtract 8 on both sides, and I get negative 5 equals b. And then I can plug this in. So now I know my slope, my y-intercept. So when I write the equation, let me erase this stuff here so it's not so messy. When I write the equation, it's y equals, the slope is 2, and the y-intercept is negative 5. So I'm just going to say minus 5. And those are 3 different ways you can find the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, given 2 points. If I gave you the slope in 1 point, you could do the same thing. You just don't have to find the slope. You don't have to do this piece of it or this piece here, and you just find the y-intercept. So that's how we would do that.